Recording in progress.
Got it.
Right on. Okay, actually, let me see if I can change my speakers. Here. All right, could you talk now?
Is this better?
Yeah, that's better. All right, there we go. I can hear
There
you
we
coming out of my
go.
speakers and my headphones now. All right, we'll jump and get started then. All right, I am. Actually, hold on. All right, this podcast is part of the More Than Baseball families. Check them out at morethanbaseball.org. They are working hard to assist minor leaguers during and after their career with career advice, financial, educational, and even mental health services, and so much more. Check them out at morethanbaseball.org. Super hyped for my guest today, a pitcher in the Marlins organization signed a few years back. Tyler Mitzel, how's it going, brother?
Good. How you been? Thanks
Man,
for
I
having
can't
me.
complain. I can't complain. It's Friday. I almost said it's almost Friday because typically these come out on Thursday, but yeah, it is Friday.
Say start to just mesh days together at this point when we get this deep into the season. So
Exactly. Is your season technically, is it halfway over now? Is it the second half of the season?
I think so, just because the second half I think probably just ended what would be 6-7 days ago.
Okay.
So I think it started about halfway through that Lansing series last week, but then you got the All-Star break coming up, so it's a little tricky.
When is the All-Star break?
It's something like that second week of July. I want to say like the 16th or something like that when it starts.
Right on.
But
okay, cool. And I know I want to start off talking about this because you play in Beloit, and every time I ask minor leaguers, like what is the worst city you play in or the worst stadium you've played in? Beloit is one of the top answers. So I want to get your thoughts on this. I mean, obviously you're in the new stadium now. I was there a couple of weeks ago. It's really nice. How was it? Was it as bad as everyone is saying playing in the old stadium?
I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty bad. It kind of gave off the vibes of when you're playing that summer baseball and kind of traveling all over the place and you're playing in some of the greatest parks, some of the worst parks, but it definitely ranks up there as probably the worst field I've played in professional baseball. And it would just be like most of like the playing surface, and when an environment like that isn't as good as it should be, you can't draw in a lot of fans. So we would have, I mean, you can count the number of fans in your two hands. You had our outfielders trying to get down and block balls like catchers in the outfield because you didn't know which way the ball was going to bounce. We would have balls jumping over infielders because it would either hit the lip or just kind of hit like a random little hill that we had built into the infield right there. But it probably goes down as the worst place I played in professional baseball.
Yeah, and I had Brian Homing on maybe a month or two ago, and was he there with you in
Yep.
I told him, I said, you got to put in your bio, your Twitter bio, like Beloit snapper survivor, because just being able to somehow get through that and to make it and advance to that next level. I mean, man, it's a drag. And I've had guys tell me, like, can't remember who was, someone on the Appleton Timber Rattlers was saying that like his locker was like in the bathroom, like in the visitor locker room. He didn't have like an actual locker. It was just like wedged in between somewhere. And he was like, this is the environment that just is not conducive for a minor league baseball player.
Yeah. I could not imagine what teams, like what their reaction was when they found out. I was like, oh, we got to go to Beloit this week. Because I remember I was in this Midwest League in 2019 with Clinton. And I remember when we had to come to Beloit for the first time, we were like, oh my God, it doesn't get worse. But yeah, the away locker rooms, the home locker room, honestly, for that matter, weren't the greatest. Just kind of all bundled up together, is super tight, just kind of a small space. It's just not great, man.
Would you consider that like a home field advantage then, because you guys play there so much more often, and then you have visitors like come in, like, where am I? Like, we're pro baseball players, and we're just like in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, definitely. We knew where all the bad hops were sometimes, but I mean, we'd almost take that to our advantage of when teams come and like, damn, I don't want to be here. I don't want to play here. So we almost take that to our advantage. And then you got like the measurements of the wall. I think we actually had our clubby measured a center field one day, and it was 365 to dead center.
Wow.
So, I mean, yeah, it was, not only was it just a Cracker Jack box, but just not the greatest playing surface either. So, I mean, it's all around.
Yeah. So as a pitcher there, I mean, like, you're obviously enjoying this new stadium so much more. Like it's pretty nice from what I hear. Like
Yeah,
Ryan was like, it's
just a
pretty
little bit.
nice.
Yeah, just a little bit nicer than Pullman, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So in Beloit, like I mean, I've been there a couple times and only pretty much only for the games. Like what do you do there? Like on your off days? Like what is there to do?
Honestly, we golf. They actually
Okay.
have some really nice golf courses in the area. They got like Lloyd Country Club. They got one out kind of by the airport, so it's kind of like very scenic, pretty cool. But yeah, we just kind of bounce around from different golf courses within probably a half hour radius, and just kind of golf, man. Like you said, there's not a whole lot to do here, but you got a group of 35 guys like we do here right now. It's easy to find fun,
Yeah.
honestly.
No, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Like I mean, golf is obviously I feel like that's one of the things that pitchers do so often. And like I've talked to guys, I'm not a golfer, but like I've talked to guys who are, they're good at golfing, they're average at golfing, but no matter what, like it's just a chance to hang out with the guys and just take advantage of just, the off day and chill.
Exactly. I'm not the best golfer, don't like to golf a whole lot, but yeah, I go out there just to have a good time. If you can go out on a golf course and not have a good time, and I think that's you're probably doing something wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's easy to have fun on a golf course, especially when you're out there with the boys.
No, no, absolutely. And I gotta figure this out because like I said, I'm not too far from Beloit. I'm about 40 minutes. If there's a golf course somewhere in between, like I gotta have to go golfing with you. Like, and I say I don't
Yeah.
golf. Like I haven't golfed and I
Hey.
don't think I've ever actually golfed. So
Yeah.
like I gotta go out and I'll be just a glue guy, like the cheering you guys on,
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, you're gonna have to get a couple shots in there too. We always gotta get better. My roommate right now actually is kind of like the same way. He doesn't like to go, but he'll just sit in the cart and have fun and chirp us a little bit when we don't
Yeah.
make good shots or whatever
Yeah.
it is. But yeah, dude, it's fun, man. Whether you're playing or not playing, golf's a good time.
Yeah, and everybody needs like that guy to just kind of like, like you said, chirp a little bit, cheer on the boys,
Yep.
just like the locker room guy on the golf
Yep.
course though.
Exactly. We
um
need them all over the place.
yeah. So speaking of Beloit, who was your guy? Who was like the locker room guy in your guys' team now? Like who's the guy who just keeps it loose, keeps it maybe he's in charge of the music a little bit?
Um, we have a couple guys. We had to start it off. We had Brady Puckett, who is one of a kind guy. You know what I mean? His personality, everything, how he tries to keep things light. And personally, I also tried to be kind of like that because I
Okay.
know it was basically that transition where you come from college to pro ball, and pro ball is like very individualized. You know what I mean? Like you not necessarily stop playing as a team, but you more like focus on yourself. You're trying to get promoted, all this and that. But when you have a light clubhouse, a fun clubhouse, not only do you start winning more, but you have more fun with the game. You stop thinking about so much, you stop stressing about how you should be doing. So I think kind of keeping that light clubhouse, keeping it fun, filled, makes the team better. And not only every individual better, just because, like I said, you're not thinking so much, you're focusing more on having fun like you did in college, playing with the boys, trying to win ball games.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's
But,
get into your background. So you grew up in South Dakota, correct?
yes, sir.
So how was what's the baseball scene like that? Because you went to Roosevelt High. Like, was your team pretty good? I mean, you guys went to the state championship, so like you guys were looks like you guys were pretty good.
I was to say, yeah, I believe it was my junior year, we ended up winning state.
Okay.
But as far as like the competition and stuff like that in South Dakota, I'm not going to say it's as good as, outside of the country. We would have to travel a lot. I know when I always talked like to my teammates in college and stuff, I was like, yeah, we had guys throwing like 90, 95 in high school. I'm like, okay. If like in South Dakota, if you threw like 80, 85, you were considered elite.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and we're using wood bats in high school too. So that wasn't, that part wasn't fun. Usually when we started our high school season, it was April, we'd still get snow. I remember I want to say my sophomore, maybe even my junior year, we had a 2-week ice storm in the middle of April.
Wow.
That put a hold on like 3 weeks of our season.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not normal, I would say, but you got it done.
That's the way it is. Like I've talked to guys in the Midwest here where I live in Wisconsin. Like I grew up in California, but like I live here now. And obviously the baseball here isn't, as compared to maybe California, Florida, Texas, some of these states where it's like it's nice year round, right? You can practice all year round, but in the winter here, a lot of guys was, either pick up basketball or do other sports.
Mm-hmm.
Did
Yep.
you play other sports, or was baseball pretty much like that's your thing?
I played basketball a little bit in high school. I actually ended up getting cut my sophomore year, and then I was like, okay, I think I'm just going to focus on baseball. So I guess it worked out for the better, anyways.
Yeah. So what you got? So you got cut your sophomore year. Like, was that just a wake up call? Like, oh man, like this is not for me. Or I'm going to focus completely on baseball.
I kind of knew it a little bit. I
Okay.
wasn't as big as I was now. I kind of hit a late growth spurt. I didn't start growing until about my senior year of high school. So I mean, I was smaller. I wasn't very athletic at the time. So I mean, it was going to happen sooner rather than later. But just kind of gave me an even more excuse just to focus on baseball.
Yeah, and I can't remember who I was talking. It might have been Brian, but Hoeing, but I it maybe someone else. I'm just mixing two stories together. But I was talking to someone who was in your similar situation in basketball and baseball, and I said, "So when did you know basketball was over for you?" And he said, "Well, I got dunked on like preseason," and he's like, "Yeah, I'm done. Like this is not going to be my sport."
That's the telltale sign. I probably shouldn't play basketball.
Yeah. He's like at that point I realized, like, you know what, this is not going to be my route to college and all that. But yeah, so you won state. So like, how was it pitching like in that environment? Like, what was it all like?
Honestly, I didn't even pitch much in high school. I didn't get to pitch much that year. I mean, I'd come in, and if we were up by a lot or down by a lot, I'd save our arms and stuff like that. For majority of the time, though, I was catching or playing third base
Okay.
in high school.
So what transitioned you into pitching though? Like, I mean, obviously you said you grew up playing third and
I was
first.
gonna say, yeah, literally just hitting that growth spurt about like my senior year of high school. And my pitching coach at the time for our organization I was playing for kept insisting, like, hey man, you should try pitching. You should try pitching. And I don't know if it was because I wasn't a very good hitter or like what he was trying to push, but
Yeah.
I'm glad he pushed me. But yeah, I just honestly just hit a growth spurt, man. And they just like, hey, you want to try throwing a bullpen? And sure enough, kind of worked out in my favor.
Yeah. So you just threw a bullpen and you realize, hey, I'm kind of nasty at this.
Yeah, I wouldn't say nasty, especially right away, but I was like, hey, how hard can throwing strikes be? You always hear coaches like yelling at their pitchers, hey, throw strikes. It's like, well, no kidding, man. Like, what do you think I'm trying to do? But
so as a pitcher, when you hear someone say that, like, just throw strikes, whether it's like a fan or a coach or just like a teammate, like, obviously, like you say, that's what you're trying to do. So like mentally, like, how do you just process that? Like, or you just kind of like brush it off, don't even listen to it?
yeah, in one ear, out the other. I mean, obviously, dude, I'm out here. I'm competing. I'm trying to throw the ball not down the middle, but throw strikes, still compete. Because I know, especially me being a position player, I don't know if there's anything worse when a pitcher comes in, ball four, ball four, ball four. So that's the biggest thing too, is if I can keep my defense on their toes and we just get in and out, everyone will be in a better mood.
Yeah. So like you said, where you grew up wasn't really like a hot spot for like baseball talent. Like, was there anybody else in your like school or like area who was pretty good and like who was like that dude, or maybe it was you?
Oh yeah, I had one of my childhood boys. His name was Josh Baumgart. Actually, he was probably one of the bigger, if not the biggest recruit in my class. He ended up going to Creighton and went to a couple different schools, but he played 5 years between Division I baseball, and then he went to Iowa Western. But I mean, like, I think that was, you could probably count the number of guys that went and played college baseball for my class probably on two hands. You know what I mean? We didn't, like you said, we just didn't have much opportunity. We had to travel a lot to Nebraska, Kansas to play in those bigger cities, bigger tournaments, get obviously exposure to all those bigger schools. But yeah, there's wasn't a lot of exposure up there, man, and not a whole lot of people want to travel to South Dakota. So
yeah, that's not maybe number one on my vacation destination to do list is Dakotas. I think I driven through though on the way from California here to Wisconsin. I think at one point I drove through one of those. I could be wrong. Nothing there. Like, I didn't see anything.
A lot of cornfields, a lot of
business. Yeah. And I mean, that's kind of how it is here in the Midwest too. I mean, obviously Wisconsin's a little bit nicer. We have lakes and all that, but so let's talk about this. How was the recruiting process? Because obviously it's hard to get exposure there in South or North Dakota, North or South?
Yeah, South
in South Dakota. Like, the exposure is kind of hard. So like, how was like the recruiting process for the colleges and stuff?
So this is actually kind of a crazy story. So originally, when I was, like I said, when I was a senior, I didn't think college baseball was like, I mean, obviously I wanted to play college baseball, but I didn't think it was realistic for someone like me at that time. And I got this offer from an NAIA in Yankton, South Dakota. It's a small town in South Dakota. And I signed and committed. I was just like, hey, I got a scholarship. Couldn't be excited. I was going to go with one of my boys that I played summer ball with. So I mean, I was super excited. Like a week or two goes by, and another one of my friends followed Steve Murray on Twitter, who is the head coach of Neosho County Community College in southeastern Kansas. And he had tweeted out something about how he had lost a pitcher in the recruiting process. And so my pitching coach at the time is like, hey, I mean, or my buddy hit me up. He's like, hey, you should just record a bullpen, send it to him, just see what happens. And so sure enough, I did that, record the bullpen. I think it was like on a Wednesday, Thursday at our summer ball practice. And I get an email back from them that weekend, or maybe Thursday or Friday. And they're like, hey, we want you to come up here on a visit. Can you make a visit literally tomorrow? So me and my family drove about 7.5, 8 hours to this junior college in the middle of southeastern Kansas. And we ended up going through all the facilities, obviously having the conversations. And sure enough, I decommitted from the NAI that I was supposed to go to and committed on the spot to this junior college. And then from there on, it's kind of the rest was history. But yeah, all that started just because of one of my boys saw Steve Murray tweet about how they lost a pitching guy, and just happened to get lucky.
Wow, that's incredible. Well, yeah, I mean, lucky is, I mean, that's insane. And you go to JUCO, and like I hear crazy stories about like the JUCO life, and it's funny because I've had guys who've come on the pod and they're like, I had to run, I can't remember where it was. I think it was in Arizona or something. I had to run up like a mountain after every practice, or and one had to run a 2-mile hike or trail after every like throwing session or bullpen or whatever. Do you have any just insane like JUCO stories where you try to explain to somebody who maybe went D1, they just look at you like, what are you talking about? Like, how could you even do that?
Yeah, dude, I talk with my teammates all the time because we got a couple JUCO bandits on the team, and it's something about it, man. It's just different. The way you go about competing, the way you go about training, all this and that, because obviously it's a little different. You got different rules and stuff like that as far as regulations go with D1, D2, NJCAA, all that stuff. But yeah, it's probably been like the worst conditioning I've ever had. We didn't have a 2-mile hike or anything like that, but we did have a 2-mile run. That would be like our conditioning test. So that would be the first thing we'd run when we got on campus. I just remembered
Was that every like practice or just like at the beginning of every like semester?
Yeah, just the beginning of every semester. It would just be like, hey, what kind of shape are you in? Did you train this off season? What did you do? And then but one of the crazier things I'd say is like, so our coach was very good at holding us accountable for going to classes, having good grades, stuff like that. So if you happen to sleep through a class, you had to do what was called a tire flip triangle. So we had like one of those 500 or like 750 pound tractor tires, and we would have to go get it, push it through our gate out in left center, flip it to left field, and then you'd go from the left field foul pole to home plate to the right field foul pole straight across to the other left field foul pole. And you just tire flip that thing. It's just up end over end, and you don't get to practice. You don't get to do nothing until you're done with that.
Wow. That's insane. So that's crazy.
Yeah.
Did that ever happen to you?
I did have to do it one time. I did accidentally sleep through an 8 a.m. class. And unfortunately, I did. I got my taste of the tire flips. But.
That's crazy. So you talking about like that first week of school running up the hill. Did you guys, was it like a kind of like a hell week or something? Like where like they just kind of put you through like a bunch of different things? Like, I mean, I've heard different colleges do different things. I don't know if they do that anymore. Maybe that's banned or whatnot, but
yeah, no, absolutely. That was our big test to be like, okay, how hard did you go this offseason? Did you put your work in? Were you lazy? Stuff like that. So, I mean, he would always keep track of times. If you were slower, he'd be like, oh, why are you slower? Are you hurt? Or, he would always just kind of keep track of that stuff. And that's how he would label guys and see how hard they worked, integrity, stuff like that. So it was kind of wild now that I think about it. But I'm very glad I went through junior college, because I think that kind of turned me into the person that I am today as far as baseball, a person, all of the above.
Yeah, like you said, you think back about like some of those experiences now, you're like, wow, like how did we even go through that? How is that even like legal? Because you think about how JUCOs, they have different regulations compared to like D1s or whatnot.
Yeah.
So you go, that was Arkansas State, or no, that was before Arkansas State. So you go to Arkansas
Yep.
State after.
Yep.
Okay.
My
And
junior year.
how was it like the transformation, or not transformation, like the transfer, like in the adjustment to go there?
Yeah. I'd say it was pretty good. Obviously, it's a lot different than junior college or any high school probably competition that I've played. But I definitely got the taste of like the Division 1 experience, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you ask every kid's like, oh, what do you want to do? Oh, I want to play D1 and I want to get drafted, stuff like that. Um, I had a great experience there in good ways and bad ways. I've obviously the good ways, you meet a lot of great guys. I've met great guys everywhere I've went.
Mhm.
Arkansas State, we had an absolute blast. I met a lot of great dudes there. But yeah, like I guess the baseball aspect of it, I didn't love as much, but it was almost made up for as much fun as we had. I know we didn't win a lot, but again, just like a great group of guys. If you have a good clubhouse, it makes it a lot easier.
Oh, for sure. How was like
But,
how was their football team? Do they have a good football team or no?
yeah, yeah, I think they would win the Sun Belt dang near
Yeah.
every year I was there.
So then, like, were you guys able to like tailgate or anything, or does your coach have you like running 8 a.m. practices to keep it if you guys
No,
were
we
going
were
too
able
wild?
to tailgate, but like the
Okay.
tough part was, I don't know why I didn't even think of this. The tough part was about Jonesboro was it was a dry county. So we had to
Oh,
drive about 40 minutes to a liquor store that was just on like the outside border of our county where we were located. So we had to drive like 40 minutes there, 40 minutes back. So we would have to try and stock up for like a week or 2 weeks at a time. And it would look like we had alcoholism or something like that when we walked out of that place. But like we would just stock up for like a couple weeks. That way we didn't have to keep driving back and forth. But so obviously, if it was a dry county, and then we weren't allowed to drink it like tailgates or anything like that, so we were having to put it in like milk jugs or like different style cups or something like that, just so we wouldn't. No one would try to talk to us about it. But yeah,
so
it made it
nobody
fun.
could pregame like at all, or like
No,
for anything. For interesting.
yeah, it was kind of crazy. It's like because you couldn't even go to like bars and get like an alcoholic beverage like liquor or anything like that. They don't have beer.
I didn't even know
So I
there was
mean, it
such thing as
was
dry counties left. If I'm being
yeah. I
honest,
didn't think so either. I was like, dang, I might have made the wrong pick.
you're like, I gotta go back to JUCO.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but no, we still had fun. We still made it work.
Yeah.
Had a great
Wow.
time.
That's crazy. Well, at least, hey, like you said, you made it work. Driving 40 minutes in
Yep.
and out, like that has to be, like you said, you guys walk out there, they're thinking like, what are these guys? What kind of
Yeah.
issues do these kids have? Like,
I
holy
was gonna
cow.
say, right? Walking out with way too much.
Oh my goodness. That is crazy. Cause like here, like in Wisconsin, like for our tailgates and like really probably the Big 12 in general, like it's like it gets pretty crazy. Like
Oh
I think
yeah.
Wisconsin, they'll tailgate anything, like they were
Yeah. I
like,
was
like
just
Brewer
about.
games here, like the tailgating is it's definitely a huge part of our sports scenes here. Um, then so
Absolutely.
after Arkansas, obviously the dry county got you mad and you left. You go to
Yeah.
August. How do you pronounce that anyway? Augustana,
Augustana.
Augustana. Where you
Augustana.
went 12-0. Like we have to talk about that. Like you go 12-0, 2.02 ERA. Like were you just like big dog on campus? Like holy cow! Like 12-0. Like that's insane. Like no matter where you're
uh No, I wouldn't say 12-0. I definitely try to take the mindset of, okay, I just came from like a Division 1 program. That doesn't mean I need to come in here and just be like, oh, I'm better than everyone. I still made sure that I try to get my work in and just try to keep that dog mentality of, okay, I'm a D1 potential D1 guy. Just came from a D1. I need to dominate. I want to dominate, and just kind of took that mindset into every start that I had. And I mean, obviously, we had a great team that year. Had a great defense behind me. Our bats were always putting up 7, 8 runs. So I mean, it's tough to lose ball games when you got your team playing as well as we did that year.
Yeah, for sure. And you guys go to the World Series. You're the World Series MVP. Did you just dominate that round? Like how was pitching in the College World Series there?
It was a blast. It was a thrill. I mean, I to this day, I don't think I've ever pitched in a more like up tempo game or got like the nerves going or anything like that. But I mean, it was kind of wild. It was the treatment of because like you always watch like Omaha and stuff like that, where here we only had probably like 300, 400 fans. So it was like nothing crazy in that aspect, but like getting like you'd play a game, okay, day off, you go watch, you go have a practice, go watch these other teams. And I remember the first day that we showed up and we were watching Mercyhurst play. And it was actually one of my boys that got drafted by the Marlins in 18, or fifth rounder, Chris Valamont. But I got to see Chris Valamont pitch, and the first pitch he threw was 98.
Wow.
And I think the fastest pitch we had seen all year might have been like 95, 96. So I was like, okay, this is different. These are going to be like top tier D2 schools, and we're going to have to bring it.
And you guys did. Did you play? Yeah. Did you play his school? At all? Okay.
Mm-mm.
All right. Well, I mean, hey, like you won the whole thing, and you're the MVP, obviously. Just being able to experience that, like, how insane was that?
It was pretty wild. Honestly, it didn't hit me for probably a couple weeks after that. But I mean, we were just so shocked because I mean, we came out. I know Jacob Blank, who started that championship game, he was hurt and he was battling injuries and stuff like that. So for him to kind of come out, be a dog, and go out and throw a complete game in the national championship game, I mean, you can't draw that up any better. And then it kind of really hit me when they started handing out. I know when you see like the NBA Finals or World Series, you see them handing out hats and shirts, like immediately, like, wow, we made it. That like this is it.
So instantaneously, they had the hats out and ready for you guys.
Yeah. Wow. I don't know what it is, but whenever I'd see like sporting events, stuff like that, like, damn, they already had these hats and like shirts printed out and everything. Like that's sweet.
Yeah. You got to wonder, like they have to have like both sets.
Yeah, or is it just generic? Both ways,
was it a generic hat? Like,
I think it was a generic hat, yeah. But I think the shirts might have been generic too, so I guess that makes it a little easier.
Yeah,
but
interesting. Yeah. That's crazy. But hey, I mean, like you said, you won a championship. How was like the locker room afterwards? Did it get pretty wild?
I was gonna say we actually didn't even have a locker room, but we just kind of sit out in that field. Obviously, all of our family and stuff that came down. We had our athletic director, our president. A lot of important people came, and just kind of enjoying that moment on the field, getting to see my family, take pictures and stuff like that with the national championship trophy. I mean, it was awesome. And then we actually got on the bus, and they had these little like wooden boxes, and we got fossil watches that would say Division II national champion on them. And that part was pretty cool too. I mean,
yeah, no, that's actually pretty sweet. Yeah,
it was nice.
Wow.
Yeah, man, it was a blast.
Yeah, so then you ended up not getting drafted, but you get signed by the Marlins. Like, how soon after the draft did they reach out to you, and like were there other teams like involved, or are they pretty much the only team that was interested?
For the most part, I was mostly in contact with the area scout that was contacting me from the Marlins, but I probably found out they called me like a couple days after the draft, like 1 or 2 days afterwards. And yeah, man, I was kind of stoked. I was like a fat kid in a candy store, just kind of starstruck by it. And when he called me, it's like, yeah, hey man, like, I want you to come play for Miami Marlins. And, I didn't hesitate. They couldn't offer me any money at the time, which I mean was fine with me. I just needed a plane ticket or an opportunity. But I did get a couple more phone calls after the Marlins, but I committed to Marlins first because they're the first team that called me. So it worked out. Can't complain.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely worked out. And so you throughout your time in the minors so far, you've played in a couple different leagues. And I like to talk about some of the experiences. And like I said, Beloit's pretty much always there when it comes to like minor league experiences and whatnot. But what is like one city you've gone to where you get off the bus and you just look around and you're like, where am I? There's nothing here.
Honestly, I would say in 2019, when I played in Clinton, Iowa, whenever we came back from a road trip or we'd get back, we're just like, dang, man, like we're back. You know what I mean? Clinton had a very particular smell to it as well. They had a Purina One dog food, cat food factory that would be right down the road from the stadium and where we lived. So whenever the wind was blowing right or whenever it rained, you just get this strong whiff of Purina One dog food. And it was tough, man. And that was also actually in this Midwest League before they had cut some teams out from professional base or from the minors.
Was that
But
your team or no? Was that your
yeah,
home team? Okay.
yep, it was the
Oh
home
wow.
team in 2019. Yeah.
So you've had a couple rough home stadiums for a while.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I remember. I don't know who came out with these rankings, but they did a voting or whatever, and I think Beloit at the time, Pullman was ranked the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Batavia, which was our short season, and Auburn was the second worst, and then Clinton was the third worst.
Wow.
So I've gotten the pleasure of playing all of them.
Wow. So then what is your favorite city to go to where you're like finally we're out of this area and like I can enjoy a nice stadium.
I'd say when I got called up to Double A for about a month last year, playing in Pensacola, that was amazing. It's probably the best baseball environment I've ever gotten to play in. I mean, you're looking at a Tuesday night with 3,000-4,000 fans. You're right on the water, so it's absolutely beautiful. Sunshine, and you're in Florida. I mean, to me, it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah.
So I thought Pensacola had an awesome venue. And honestly, just kind of that whole league too. You got a lot of cool ballparks, cool backdrops, stuff like that. So I mean, I'd say that whole league down there is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like I haven't been to the other stadiums, but I have been to the old Beloit Stadium. I've been to the new Beloit Stadium. Like I said, the new one's beautiful. I really enjoyed it. The fans, I don't know, maybe I just went on an off day, but I think it might have been Saturday night. The fans weren't fully there. I don't know if it's kind of picking up now, but
Yeah, definitely. I think it helps a little bit too. We didn't start the season off on the best note either, but once we started winning, more fans started showing up.
I will
That
say this.
obviously always makes it more fun.
Yeah, I was there on you guys' first win, so that might have been actually a couple months ago now. So I might have to talk to like the I was gonna say snappers, but the Sky Car people, and maybe I might be the good luck charm.
You might be. I was gonna say you're gonna have to let me know. I'll get you some tickets.
Yeah.
More games.
I'm definitely down. I'm definitely down. I'm gonna have to hit you up for that. I was gonna say because Brandon Kennard on the Timber Rattlers was pitching. He's a friend of the pod, been on the pod a couple times. So I went down there to watch him play. And he was just pitching really well. And then I think you guys ended up walking it off for you guys' first win. And I was oh my goodness, like what is going on? Like he had such a great game, and their bullpen ended up blowing it. But no, I mean, Beloit, it's a fun place to watch. Funny thing though, I don't know who it was who hit a foul ball in the left field. They had like those glass tables, and I don't know why they're there, but like one ball landed and just shattered a table, and I was like, yeah, they maybe might want to rethink this glass table.
Not have glass tables or glass chairs or anything like that, where 100-mile-an-hour line drive foul balls could be coming and landing and potentially shattering.
Yeah, it did, and they were like cleaning. So they were just sweeping up the glass, carting it off. I'm like, oh my goodness, does that happen often, or is that just?
To be honest with you, I didn't even know we had glass tables over there. So that might have been the first time I've heard about it. But yeah, that doesn't sound very smart.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it was shattered all over the ground, so it had to be that or some sort of, I don't know what else was shattered that much. Yeah. But
so I'm gonna have to look during BP today or something like that.
Yeah. Let me know. Maybe it's like not plexiglass. That might be stronger. I don't know. I'm not too familiar with that with the table
plastics.
Table. My materials and all that. But so have you had any interesting like fan interactions or funny like minor league stories where either it's like a bus broke down or fans are like chirping at you guys or like saying something wild and you're just like, what? This is like the epitome of just like minor league grinding.
Yeah, I definitely got some stories. I'd say most of them are probably not pleasant enough to share on podcasts or anything like that. But yeah, you definitely have your fair share of. I remember we had a group it was in Batavia in was it 18 or 19, where the bus had broken down just like outside of the clubhouse. And we couldn't get anything. There were no hotels like available. It was late after a game. So it was like 10, 11 o'clock at night and the bus broke down. So we had to just sleep in the clubhouse.
Wow.
Like we had guys sleeping on the training tables, in their lockers, on the floor. The one couch probably fit 3 guys on there. I mean, we were trying to make anything and everything work.
Yeah.
But I mean, like just your typical like bus breakdown story, waiting an hour and a half. I know we've had our bus go out with AC like 30 minutes into a 4-hour bus drive.
Wow.
I mean, stuff like that. I'm trying to think. I know there are more out there too, and I
Yeah.
just
What about like when you're in the bullpen? Like, do you hear like you can hear the fans like just like chirping at you guys? Like, do you ever like what is it? What are some maybe like some funny like chirps that you've heard, or like some where you just have to look at it and you're like, wow, I kind of respect that. That was actually kind of funny, you know?
yeah, yeah. I will say we had one guy chirping us. It was like, dang, they're giving away like it was a 50-50 raffle or something like that. And they were talking about how much money was invested in all this. It's like, yeah, you take home 50%, we're donating the other 50% to charity. We've raised a total of like $3,500 or something like that. This fan turns to us and goes, dang, that's more than you guys make in a year. So it's just like, I mean,
Yeah.
you're not wrong,
No.
but damn.
Yeah. No.
There's not much we can say.
Yeah. No. Not at all. And like
But,
it's like I said, like this. I'm with More Than Baseball, and like they're definitely doing um their job or their whole thing is to help minor leaguers out, and like they're
yeah,
really fighting obviously like advocates for minor leaguers. I
yeah,
think there's something going on in like I can't remember what it was, but there's like a law or they're reviewing one of these laws
yeah,
currently to kind of talk about that. So like I mean just thinking about life in the minors, obviously you guys don't get paid what you should be getting paid, and there's a big push to kind of like fix that, and you know, and like it
yeah,
may not happen now, it may happen a few years down the road, but hopefully soon like that changes.
yeah,
And like you know, because I mean it's you tell these stories about like buses breaking down and like all this stuff and whatnot, and it's only funny because you're a professional baseball player and this stuff
exactly.
is
The
happening to you, you
situation.
know, like
Yeah,
otherwise it's like
absolutely.
it's not funny. It's actually kind of sad if you think about it in
I
that
was
way.
gonna say it's just like sucks,
Yeah, yeah,
but
and like
yeah,
you guys shouldn't have to go through that.
it is. It's kind of crazy how that gets viewed because it's not exactly what you would expect professional
Mhm.
baseball to look like, but also at the
Yeah,
same time you have about 30 grown men in a bus sitting two to a seat with no AC, driving 5 hours at 2 o'clock in the morning after you just get done with a game. So I mean, it is kind of funny how you say it like that. It's a good point.
yeah, it's all about perspective, I guess. But
It really is.
it is what it is.
It
So
really is.
yeah, you mentioned you were in Double A. Like, um, how was that experience jumping up there? Obviously, you're back in Low. We hope we'll see you there soon again. But
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I mean, it was awesome. Like I said, it's probably definitely been the best environment. Um, I think it does get a little bit more competitive from
Mhm,
high to double A.
for sure.
You definitely have like the more, I wouldn't say will to win, but you definitely act. It kind of gives more off of that vibe of you're
Mhm.
trying to play to win down there versus maybe like some of the lower levels. But I mean, it was awesome, and you definitely obviously face a lot better hitters, a lot better competition. And even that is kind of increasing your ability to change your game and stuff like that as far as approaching certain batters, knowing what pitches to throw, sequencing stuff like that. So I mean, all of that stuff changes on top of playing in better stadiums, better environments. Like I said, the will to win is a little bit better up there too. So I think it's just overall like it was an amazing experience. I'm super glad I got the opportunity.
Yeah. So let's end on this. Let's talk more about like you as a pitcher, and like obviously I like to talk about more off the field stuff, not so much like detailed pitching. That's really not my. I'm not a stats guy. I don't
Mhm.
ever
Yeah,
claim to be. But you as
yeah.
an individual, like what do you do? Like what's your like like pregame snack or like favorite thing to snack on during the games? Or do you have like any funny superstitions that you care to share? If not, you don't have to.
I wouldn't say I have any crazy superstitions. I do try to wear the same socks whenever I'll
Okay.
throw. Like I got a pair of high socks and I got a pair of like lower mid socks, and I always try to wear the lower mid socks. But outside of that, man, I just try to keep everything super laid back. I know, especially that I've learned about myself is the more that I start to overthink things, overprocess things, and try to do way too much, that's when I get myself in trouble.
Mhm.
So lately, I've just tried to like learn my or teach myself to just kind of stay laid back, chill out a little bit, and just kind of let things fall into place. But like when they do fall into place, I want to make sure that I'm ready mentally, physically, all of the above. So I'm starting to figure out that happy medium of what I need to do to get ready and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't have any crazy superstitions. I guess if I have like a bad outing, I'll definitely use another glove the next outing or like a new pair of cleats or something. Got to get rid of the bad juju.
Yeah.
But outside of that, man, unfortunately I don't do anything too crazy. But and then I'd say my go-to snack as of late, it's probably been an orange, man.
Really? Like
Yeah, just kind of sit out
classic.
in the bullpen. Yeah, peel an orange. maybe have 2 or 3 and call it a day.
Okay. Are you a
But
sunflower seeds guy or no?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's tough. We can't because since we just got this new turf and everything, so we got to like spit into a cup and throw it away and
Oh,
stuff like
sure,
that.
sure.
So it's, I mean, I say that's difficult spitting seeds into a cup,
Right,
but
but I mean, it's a minor inconvenience.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
When you're used to just like being able to spit it on the field and stuff like that. So I guess I haven't done seeds as much as I used to, but yeah, man.
Are you like a rip smelling salts or like some like pre-workout or something prior to?
I'll mix it up. I'll try to do a smelling salt. I guess one. I don't even know why I think it is. So last year, a kid named Josh Simpson, he would drown himself before he would go into the game. So
What do
what
you
I
mean?
mean by that is he would take water. He'd put water in his hand and he'll put it up and he'll like go through his nose and it'll give him or it gives the body the sensation that you're drowning. So like you spit it out your mouth, you just get this crazy adrenaline spike, like your body just felt like it was drowning. So now every time, and I think it's almost carried over to everyone in our bullpen right now, we'll take like a cup of water and we'll put it up to our nose and we'll snort water and like spit it out and everything. And it kind of gets our adrenaline going and stuff like that. And then we'll go straight into the game. And for some reason, it just feels like you're more wired than normal or you're just more ready to go or something like that. So, I mean, we started to do that every time before we go take the mound.
That's crazy. I got to do that maybe next time I work out or something. Just to
Yeah.
try to mimic that experience. Holy cow, that's something I've
Something,
never
dude.
heard of before. And the whole
Yeah.
bullpen's kind of implemented that now.
Yeah. Yeah. And now we kind of do it's like when we get these new guys coming up from like low A and stuff like that, like, hey, welcome to high A, you gotta drown yourself. But
Wow.
it's not bad, man. It's kind of crazy actually how much it like helps and helps you lock in,
Yeah.
focus. I don't know, man. It takes you to a different mind state. It's kind of dope.
Yeah. No. Like I said, hey, whatever works. If it works, don't stop it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But
As
hey,
weird
well, I
as it
want
can be.
yeah. I want to thank you for coming on the podcast, man. I appreciate it. We'll have to have you back on again. I'm gonna have to go down to Beloit, either golfing or do
Yeah,
something. Like I said, it's not far of a drive. I'm gonna be out that area
absolutely.
actually, maybe next month. But even then, like we'll make some time to make it work. You don't game. You mentioned you're not a big gamer.
I was gonna
Do you
say,
have your
yeah, like we
console
do
with
a
you
little
or
bit
no?
here and there. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay,
Actually, I use it more for streaming. Honestly, like
sure.
streaming Netflix, HBO, Hulu, stuff like that, than video games now. But yeah, man. Appreciate you having me on. Whenever you get to Beloit, you gotta let me know. I'll get you some tickets and
Yeah.
maybe we can get out and golf sometime too.
For sure, definitely. All right, man. You have a great rest of the day, man. Enjoy your
Hey,
day and have a good one.
appreciate it. You as well, man.
All right, brother. Bye.